So good morning, friends. Today we are going to take MCQs of chapter number second of our central banking CIB optional series. This is we are finished with our chapter number 2, functions of central bank. So now we will look for the MCQs which are given on the last page of the chapter number 2. So first question is you can read. Bank de France was initially granted exclusive privilege to issue banknotes for the period of. So its answer is 15 years. So in the second chapter number second video lecture series, I have explained to you that the Bank of France was given exclusive privilege to issue the currency for 15 years. This point is explained in the currency issue. The fourth or fifth point was there in the function of central bank. You can see one point was there, so we have covered there this first point. Now second point, Friedman and Schwartz advocated that Great Depression of 1930s was a consequence of the following. So it was a fall in the supply of money. I have explained in 1930 there were two views. I have explained in our economic Great Depression video lecture. I told you there was two views: Keynesian views, which was blaming fiscal policy, and second views was that Milton Friedman and Anna Schwartz, they both have criticized the monetary policy. That is, it was monetary policy failure that was actually led to 1930 Great Depression. So monetary policy failure means nothing but fall in the supply of money, because at that time actually in the US Federal Reserve they have increased the interest rate, so it has reduced the money supply in the economy. But that was not required. What exactly was required? It was they have to reduce their interest rates so as to create money supply in the economy that will lead to boost in the economy, investment in the economy. That was actually needed, but US Federal Reserve have not done it. They have kept their tight monetary policy, so they have done opposite. So that's why Friedman and Schwartz had advocated that Great Depression of 1930s was a consequence of the falling supply of money. Then third question is the following facility was introduced by the IMF in 1967 with a view to manage global liquidity. Answer is special drawing rights. This point will come in subsequent chapters also. This point will come. I will explain you at that time also. At present, you just remember is special drawing rights that was introduced by the IMF in 1967 just to manage global liquidity. Then fourth point, these points is there in chapter, only one single point is there. Then fourth point, Smithsonian Agreement. This question actually was asked in June 2022 CIB Central Banking optional paper. In June 2022 exam, this question was asked. Smithsonian Agreement, what it was about? So it was about permissible band of the movements of exchange rate 2.25% above and below the central rate. This was actually the Smithsonian Agreement. So friends, regarding Smithsonian Agreement, actually I have explained to you in a brief history of the maintaining external value of currency in function of central bank video lecture. In previous lecture you can see, I think in part 2 of the chapter number 2, I explained it very well what was the Smithsonian Agreement. On the downside of that paper you can see the Smithsonian Agreement. Here I have written clearly. Okay, so answer is 2.25% movement. Then fifth point is Asian economic crisis stem from the following event. It was a large private sector deficit. Yes. Because it was not related to housing bubble. This is housing bubble related to global financial crisis of 2007-8. Government deficit, it was not. Government deficit we cannot say. Then high debt to GDP ratio. This could be possibility, but major reason was this one, large private sector deficit, because the private sector financial deregulation was done. So many private sector has given freedom to borrow from abroad. So many short-term borrowing was done by the private sector, and later on they failed to repay back this short-term loan. So it was a private sector deficit was the main reason. One of the main reason is Asian crisis was happened. Then sixth point is the short-term debt as a percentage of the total reserve exceeded 200% in 1995-1996 for the following country. It was Korea. In Asian economic crisis video lecture, I have explained that it was 100 and 200% more than the foreign exchange reserve they were having. They have borrowed that much percentage for the short-term debt. So it was a Korea 200%. I have written in that lecture series also. It was a Korea 200%. They have exceeded their foreign exchange reserve. Total reserve they have exceeded by 200%. Then total reserve of the banking system constitute. So total reserve. So definitely it is excess reserve and required reserve. So definitely answer will be B and C. Both B and C. This is normal. I mean easy question. Total reserve means required reserve plus excess reserve means total reserve. So 8 questions is the under inflation target framework, following institution in India determines the inflation target. It is central bank with consultation with the government. Actually, this point I didn't find that much correct. It is monetary policy committee actually that we are doing inflation targeting. In that decision is taken in indirect way. This can be correct because in monetary policy committee, 6 members are there, 3 from the RBI side and 3 which are nominated from the government. So it is nothing but a central bank means official discussing with the central government official only. By consensus they are taking decision on the inflation targeting. So it is not single-handedly government simply, no, it is not correct. Central bank also solely it is not correct. It is central bank in consultation with the government through monetary policy committee. It is, I think, incomplete information, but this is more, I mean, I will say more correct option. So that's why answer is this one. So then Great Depression of 1930 established the dominance of the following policy regime. It was the fiscal policy. Why? Yes,